Hey, Space people, this is Index AI. Yash and I are working on this, and we are going to we decided to just like hop on a Zoom call. And Yash has made this presentation as like a sort of a template to get started about like discussing what we did in this week. And yeah, take it away. You've been working your ass off on this the entire week, so let's just get started with that.
Thanks, Deepraj. So I'll just jump right to the point what we are building. So Index AI is basically an internal search tool for literally anything text. So imagine PDF documents, imagine text on Notion, Confluence, GitHub pages, and anything wherever you store notes, essentially. So our approach is essentially to use embeddings. We take all the information which we collect from the user through PDFs, through notes, and we store it as vector embeddings. And the first step of like our week was to figure out what kind of embeddings were the best. So we didn't know like if Cohere was good or OpenAI was good. So I tried a couple different ones and saw which was the most economical for us and which did like decent performance. The next step was to store these embeddings. So like there are like 8 vector stores right now in LangChain. So I went through the documentation, looked at the source code, and settle down on Quadrant because it scales very well and they offer like a really generous free tier. Next up was the LLMs because again we also wanted to summarize some of the results for the user once the document came up. So for that, I just stuck with OpenAI GPT 3.5. Once I wrote all the functions for the embeddings and vector stores, next step was to actually make an interface out of it. So the backend, the front end. So backend is where we wanted to put all the code for the embeddings and the LMs. And for the backend, I chose with Fast API because it's really quick and easy to set up.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
the
I
look,
remember. No, sorry to stop you there, but like I remember, like you ran into this like really weird issue with the course thing when after you had set up authentication when you're doing the backend stuff because we went with the Fast API, and then there's some issue you're talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, the cause issue was slightly painful. I wasn't aware of the cause issue being persistent in Fast API for the last 3 years. But I was after like mindlessly scrolling through Stack Overflow and 2 old blog posts, I was able to resolve it within 3 hours. Once that was done, the backend was in isolation working. So I started working on the front end. For this, I just used Chakra and like React. And spin up some templates really fast once, but the templates weren't enough because we wanted to like customize it for our needs. So I started working on like a search query, like a search bar, and most importantly adding authentication. So here's where like a lot of our time also went in securing end-to-end flow between backend, front end, and we wanted to make sure it works seamlessly for the user. So we wanted to make it hassle free. That's why we went with passwordless. So you just enter your OTP, which comes to either your phone or email, and then you just sign in. That's it. Like there's no hassle. And once you're signed in, we we take measures in making every user is unique on the back end so that like none of your data is shared with other users or like it's not being shared across one uniform layer of like vector store. And yeah, so the final step was deploying all of this. So I deployed the backend and front end to two different separate websites using render.com. So render was like a new thing which I found out because Heroku stopped their free dynos. And
Starting on that.
once we configured render to deploy the backend, the problem was coming in the front end because we were again doing server side rendering technically. So there was some like bugs which we ran into, but again that got fixed within a day or two. And yeah, now our website is live and we can try it out. Deepraj, you wanna go ahead and show them how it works?
Yeah, yeah. I'll just like start sharing my screen and then I'll just like run through the workflow. Yeah. All right, yeah. So I'm gonna just share my screen. Uh, Tell me you can see this.
Yep.
This thing is in front of me. Oops. Okay. I'll just pull up my phone. I'm not gonna open the inbox on desktop. because I don't want to figure out how to blur sections of the recording. Cool. All right. This is currently how it looks like when you sign in.
Nice embed tool.
Yeah, we're going to quietly ignore the CSS thing over there. I know it's just a chakra thing. We'll fix it later. But yeah, I have uploaded this paper. Yash, this paper was like published in 2023, right? Just like, okay.
Yeah, it's a cool one. Uh, Allows us to train models more efficiently.
All right. Yeah. So the idea here is that like whatever local notes that you have, say in currently like we support PDF files, you upload those, and those we're calling them local notes right now, and then your input query can be based on like whatever could exist in like what or any of those notes. So like I'm just going to go ahead and like one sec. Oh, I thought like we got another OTP or something like that. Okay. Um, definition. Okay, cool. And then like it starts searching across all of the nodes. I think we did a few other uploads when we were just like testing this out. So we just
Yeah,
like, and also like our server is currently massive.
running on one CPU thread because it's a free download thing. We plan to make it in-house, so maybe that's coming for week 2.
Yeah.
Having everything in-house, maybe Raspberry Pis, maybe EC2 instances,
Yeah.
maybe something even nicer.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm
so
actually
Geo,
quite excited to just like try to figure out if we can do that on Raspberry Pi and then like do a tunnel thing. That'll be a fun week to update. Anyway, yeah. So, Yash, go ahead, talk about it.
yeah. So basically, like here you can see it summarizes the research paper a bit, like gives you an overview of what low rank adaptation is about. It doesn't necessarily answer the question, but it'll give you like the most relevant document which you're looking for. So if you click on preview source, you'll see like a snippet of the actual paper which we updated.
Yeah.
So if there were like multiple papers talking about low rank adaptation or like GPT-4, large language models, and you don't want to go and do like keyword search because I don't think that it'll be very effective because those keywords will be literally in each and every paper. But using embeddings, we can distinguish between what's more important and like those salient features come out. So I think like even for researchers, this could be cool. But like I feel like this could really boost like developer productivity in that sense. Like, oh, you have like some pages scattered over archive, it's some in like subfolders which you don't want to get into because you always wanted to manage that and delete it and clean it up, but you never went to. So think about all those things. And we want to put up like a recursive file upload thing. So where you just drag a folder and it'll take care of the rest. So that's also
Yeah.
coming next.
Yeah. And like next week we have a lot more coming in with the integrations with
Yeah.
I don't think we should talk about
Notion's coming. And yeah, I mean, I won't talk about it. Yeah.
all right. But yeah, I think that's it for week one. I will just go ahead and like log out so that just like, hey, this also works. Um, yeah, and then like
Yeah.
week two, we're going to start polishing up the UI a little bit and then just like fix the theme versus and that. Like, but week one was mostly Yash working away nights and weekends on just like making sure that like all the parts are working together on the back end with the vector store and everything. But all right, I'll just stop sharing and I think should we just like end this here?
Yeah. Unless you want to say something as an ending note.
This is the ending note. Excited for week two.
Yeah.